morning, everybody. Fred, thank you very, very much for a very generous introduction. I am delighted to be here with everybody, distinguished ambassadors who are here this morning. Thank you for taking time to represent your countries and come here and share your concern about this critical issue. And I'm delighted to be accompanied by our envoy on climate, who's been toiling away in the fields for a long time now and helping to shape President Obama's and the State Department's policy on this, Todd Stern. Todd, thanks for your many efforts. As Fred mentioned, climate change is an issue that is personal to me. And it has been since the 1980s, when we were organizing the very first climate hearings in the Senate. In fact, it really predates that, going back to Earth Day, when I'd come back from Vietnam. It was the first political thing I began to organize in Massachusetts, when citizens started to make a solid statement in this country. And I might add this, before we even had an Environmental Protection Agency, or a Clean Water Act, or a Safe Drinking Water Act, or a Marine Mammal Protection Act, or a Coastal Zone Management Act. It all came out of that kind of citizen movement. And that's what we have to be involved in now. The reason for that is simple. For decades now, the science has been screaming at us, warning us, trying to compel us to act. Science also tells us that when the water temperature drops below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, it turns to ice. No one disputes that. So when science tells us that our climate is changing, we literally do not have the time to waste debating whether we can say climate change. Is that those same scientists are telling us what's going to happen. Not just the fact of it being there, but they're telling us what's coming at us. These scientists also agree that if we continue to march like robots down the path that we're on, the world as we know it will be transformed dramatically for the worse. And we can expect sea levels will continue rising to dangerous levels. We will see nations moved as a consequence in the Pacific and elsewhere. Bangladesh, countries that are low. We will see large swaths of cities and even some countries underwater. We can expect more intense and frequent extreme weather events like hurricanes and typhoons. We can expect disruptions to global agricultural sector that will threaten job security for millions of farmers and undermine food security for millions of families. We can expect prolonged droughts and resource shortages, which have the potential to fan the flames of conflict in areas that are already troubled.
It was made to defend us against the same goddamn threat that we're facing now.
Wait a minute now. Didn't I yell at them?
Yeah.
Didn't I stand up for you when you walked out? Well, then listen to me. Will you listen to me? That meteor is 5 miles wide, and it's definitely going to hit us. It'll make a hole big enough to put the Atlantic in unless we can stop it.
Shit. 5 miles.
Now, walk out.
But what about General Adlon? Isn't he still in charge of Hercules?
Adlon's a good man, technically. But he's two-dimensional, you know that. We've got to find a way to move him out. That's problem number one. Problem number two, there are about 100 guys in this crazy town stupid enough to want to resist using Hercules because of what it would mean politically.
What the hell am I supposed to do about that?
Help me ride over them.
Okay, you son of a bitch. I'll help you, but I want it straight up and down.
Straight up and down, you've got my word. Those rockets have got to be realigned, and we've got exactly 5 days.
Jonathan Cahn, the author of The Harbinger and the Mystery of the Shemitah. We've been deluged with questions from around the nation, around the world, as to recent events and to what's coming. So we decided to make this, to address this in a very brief way. I believe a great shaking is coming to America and the world. I believe it will involve an economic collapse, a financial collapse, and a shaking even greater than those realms.